So why aren't people scared today? Why do people do such bad things? There are two reasons for it. Number one, they don't know. They just simply don't know. They don't know the truth. They don't know what the consequences are of not doing what Hashem wants. They think like I used to think, which is that following the Torah is an elective. You can do it if you want. You don't have to, though. If you want to follow Torah, good for you. If you don't, live a different lifestyle. You're still Jewish. Everything is good. Hashem still loves you. You still have Gan Eden. Like it says in the Tefillah on Yom Shishi, right before Shabbat comes in. Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelek l'olam haba. Actually, I'm sorry, on Shabbat. Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelek l'olam haba. Everybody thinks that regardless of whether you're a righteous person or not, regardless of whether you learn Torah or not, regardless of whether you follow Torah or not, regardless of whether you keep Shabbat or not, you have olam haba. You're going to be okay. The problem with that argument is that you didn't read the rest of the Mishnah. That Mishnah, where it says, Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelek l'olam haba, comes from Masechet Sanhedrin. Now, every time I say Masechet, that means Gemara. Gemara is our oral Torah. It's one of these books. So, for example, this is a Art Scroll edition of book. So imagine each time I say Masechet, it's one of these books. There are 73 of these books. It's 36 Masechets, but it's 73 editions of this because it's English and Hebrew. So it's when I say Masechet so-and-so, I'm not mentioning the whole book. I'm just mentioning one line within the book. So imagine what's in the rest of the book. So now, in the Gemara, Masechet Sanhedrin, it says, Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelek l'olam haba. All of Israel have a share of the world to come. And he uses the verse from the prophet Isaiah, Ve'amer kulam tzadikim, all of you are righteous, and actually gives the definition of what it means. It doesn't mean that everyone has olam haba. It means that just like the Gemara in Masechet Chagah, page 15, says that Hashem reserves olam haba for everyone. But there's two olam habas. There's a good one and there's a bad one. There's Gan Eden, and then there's the other hot place. They have different names for it. No, some people call it Gehenom, some people call it hell, some people call it Kafakel, all 7 other names. The point is that it's not a pretty place. You don't want to go there. So the Gemara says that Kol Yisrael have something. Which one it's going to be depends on you. How do you know which? The rest of that Gemara, after that line, that one verse, there's 10 pages saying, and the following people do not have it. So it says everyone, except the following people. And there's 10 pages of who doesn't have it. And when you read it, you have to start doing tshuva. Why? Because you realize that you could be one of them. Now, one of the things that shocked me when I first started doing tshuva is that I realized that following what Hashem says is not an elective. It's not if you want to, it's okay. If you don't feel like it, it's also okay. Hashem loves you regardless. He loves you and that's why He gives you time, but it doesn't necessarily mean that He can give you Gan Eden just like He gave Moshe Rabbeinu. There obviously has to be a bill. Now, David HaMelech tried to give us a few hints. So we get to the good place. So we get to the Gan Eden. So we don't make mistakes that cost us eternity. And he says, go my sons, listen to me. I will teach you fear of Hashem. And the reason why is because in Tehillim 111, verse 10, he says, Reshit chokhmah yirat Hashem. The beginning of wisdom is fear of Hashem. And we see this throughout all of the Torah. We see this in the book of Deuteronomy or Sefer Dvarim. Moshe Rabbeinu tells Am Yisrael, what does Hashem want from you other than you fear Him? Meaning, only thing He wants from you is for you to fear Him. That's it. Just fear Hashem. So the question is, why do we need to fear Him? Why can't we just love Him? Why can't we just say, Hashem, I love you. Give me $1 million. Hashem, I love you. Give me 2 million, because the million I spent it. Hashem, I love you. Give me a bigger house. Hashem, I love you. Give me a good wife. Give me a good husband. Give me good kids. Hashem, I love you. Don't give me anything. Just let me keep whatever I have. Hashem, I love you. Let me live till 120 minimum. Why can't it be that way? Why can't it be that way? Because then, chas v'shalom, you're turning Hashem into Santa Claus. Hashem is not Santa Claus. He's also not your friend. He doesn't give you gifts for no reason. The Siftei Emet, which is one of the sages in our history, said that Hashem wants to give you good. Because He is good, He wants to give you good. But His wisdom knows that He cannot give you good for no reason. There has to be a price. Because if He gave everyone good, they wouldn't appreciate it. So for example, if every time your kid asks for something, you give it to them, all you're doing is you're creating a little Hitler. You're not creating a good kid. Why? If every time your kid asked you for something, you said yes. So in the beginning, he can ask you, okay, Abba, can I have candy? Yes. Abba, can I have another candy? Yes. Abba, can I have another candy? Yes. After a week, Abba, can I have a candy? Then your wife wants to divorce you. Why? Because the kid has no teeth. And the kid doesn't like you anymore. Why? Because he knows he doesn't have any teeth because of you. So giving him everything he wants is not exactly good. Now if you fast forward it, and every time you ask Abba something, he gives it to you. And every time your son asks you something, you give it to him. He wants candy in the beginning, and then he wants a phone, and then he wants a PlayStation, and then he wants a car, and then he wants a house. David HaMelech is telling us that you're going to make the same mistake that he made one time. He had several sons, and one of his sons, he never told him no. Every time he asked for something, he said, yes, whatever you want, I have, because I want to give you everything I didn't have as a kid. He didn't have exactly the easiest childhood, David HaMelech. So one day, the kid asked for something that David HaMelech has to say no. What was it? He wanted the malchut. He said, Abba, you gave me this, you gave me this, you gave me this, you gave me this. You know what? Don't even give me anything more. Just give me your position. I want to be king. I want to be David HaMelech. Hashem says, you can't be king. Hashem has to choose you. What do you mean? You've been giving my whole life everything I want. Now you're going to say no finally? Ad kan. Can't do it. I'm going to kill you. And that's actually what he tried to do. Avshalom became a little Hitler. Avshalom could not tolerate the fact that his father said no because he was used to hearing yes. So everyone knows that just saying yes all the time is not a good thing. Now David is telling us that when we learn what Yirat Shamayim is, we're going to learn when to say yes, when to say no. And Hashem wants to give you good. But He knows that He can't just say yes all the time. If you do good, you get good. If you do bad, the opposite. But the first and most important thing is you need to recognize Him. You can't ask for stuff and not know who He is.